Alright, it's update time. I know it's been about 6 months or so since I actually made and posted a video on this channel. So I thought to myself earlier this week that it's about time. It's about time that I make a milestone update for all of you on how the project has been going thus far with this Misschanger V2. What are the key features that I have managed to cram into this little machine here, and where to go from there. Hopefully it's going to be a short one and easy to edit, so yeah, let's just get right straight into it. The first and most important feature, of course, is, well, obviously the tool changing bit itself. As you can tell, everything is working, and as far as I can tell, it is working better, faster and more reliable than V1 had ever been. There we are. Besides that, we had make full support of the beacon probe or the beacon bed scanner, and as you can see right now, it's doing a 11 by 11 bed mesh, and it is faster, it is accurate, and well, with beacon contact, it actually had auto Z offset calibration, which is a huge game changer. With that said, the beacon probe can be a little pricey for many people, so I have make sure to leave the little groove on the X carriage here the same size as the one on the original Voron X carriage. That means any probing mechanism that fit into the original Voron Trident X carriage will fit on Misschanger V2. Physically speaking, at least. I won't even attempt to try to support it in terms of the coding side of things. Nevertheless, it's a possibility for those who want it. The next notable feature that I have for Misschanger V2 here is actually this top hat. And if I put a ruler on it, you can tell it is only about 35 millimeter in height. That is shallower than any other top hat solution that is available for tool changer on a, well, Voron thus far. And how I got away with such a shallow top hat, I'll get into that in just a minute. But while we're still on this view, I can also show you another cool feature that I have had on this top hat that I designed, and that is the ability to uninstall the panel without any tools. And the same apply for this back panel here. And of course, this thing is actually the original top panel of the Trident, so none of the thing that come out of the box or the original Trident kit is going to waste, which is great. And while we are here, this is the best showing of how the top hat can be so small in height, and that is because, as you can see, I have moved all the cabling management system to the back of the printer instead of leaving it a bundle up on the top. And now I'm going to turn it off really quick and show you the other cool feature that I have. You don't actually need to remove the back panel for this, but I had done it already, so I'm not going to be bothered putting it back on. Just like the top and back panel, I can easily remove the tool head without any tools. As soon as I can unmount it from the gantry, just like that. Just as easy as I can take it off, I can also put it on quickly and easily. The next notable feature for this machine is actually this thing here, which is the flipped-on calibration probe. Now, unlike V1, where you would have to restart the machine and restart the firmware to apply the Z offset between the two heads, for Misschanger V2, that is no longer necessary. As long as you don't need to do the absolute Z offset for the 2.0, you can in fact just calibrate it and it will automatically apply without the need for any restart. The only manual bit that you need to do is actually just to put the calibration probe on and off the bed. Staying on the topic of the software, anyone who have already owned a Misschanger V1, which is one of these here, you will have the ability to update to the new backend system for Misschanger V2. It's not gonna be a one-click update and it's just gonna work. It will be require a lot of tinkering on the user side to redo your config and all of that, but the promise there is that it will be more reliable and it will have a few more quality of life than the old version. With that said, there's some loss in function versus the old add-on with V1, where the probe, you can only now probe with the D0 instead of probing with every tool as it was before. But that's the choice you can make. Coming back to V2 though, so far I have added an optional feature for the system, and that is this optional poop chute here. And I don't think you can see at that angle, but there is a hole underneath this little funnel here, and on the corner there's a little metal lead to just take the heat off any of the poop that's coming off the nozzle, and of course a brush to clean it off. So let's have a demo here. And in the via software, I can now support this to be done either after tool change, depending on the specific material loaded on that nozzle, or the specific brand of filament loaded on that nozzle. So yeah, that's cool. In addition to all of that, of course, on one of the tool head here, I have installed a filament cutter. So I'll leave it to your imagination what is the next optional thing that feature that I'm gonna develop for this machine. With all that said though, being an optional feature, no, I'm not gonna be working on that new feature as soon, because the one thing that needs to be worked on now is the documentation for the core feature that is already on the machine. On that front, the documentation for the assembly of the physical machine itself is about 60-50% done. So I'm just starting the part where I am talking about the extruder, and following that I will start talking about how to put the tool changing bit together. Next, beyond that, they need some instruction in terms of how to install the firmware, how to configure it, and so on and so forth. And last but not least, the slicer. There is going to be a lot to take in when it comes to how to set up the slicer for your printer, and not only just to get it moving, but to also to how to use it day to day. It's going to be a whole thing. I'm not sure how, there's going to be a video about it specifically in the future. And all of this marked a interesting milestone for the project, where it is moving beyond a personal project, where everything on this printer right now works perfectly fine for me. But if I want anyone else to be able to actually build one for themselves, I need to do all of that documentation and get that done. So that will be my focus for the next few months, basically just not touching the design at all and be dead set on working on the documentation. And I feel like this is the perfect time for me to plug my Ko-fi and Patreon and whatnot down below. I have no hope on ever making my money back on any of these machines. Well, if combining V1 and V2, it's like £4,000. And yeah, that's a lot too much money for any expectation of breaking even. But a cup of coffee here and there does go a long way. Anyway, for those who are interested in having the look of this machine in person, I am going to be bringing it to Smurf 2026. I had a booth there, so if you're coming, make sure to drop by and say hi. Beyond that, there are some comments that I had received related to this machine over the past 6 months, so I'm just gonna answer them really quickly. So for those who were wondering how much of the wire space that you're going to lose by installing this dock at the front, And the answer would be about 80 millimeter at the front will be taken off the printer, which is substantially less than V1, which is 120 millimeter taken off the printer. And this all come down to the fact that I'm using an A4T instead of the default steel burner. The next comment is a concern relating to the dock hitting the top aluminum extrusion here on the system. And well, as you can see in here, there's a lot of leeway for it to go up. And I won't lie, this tool headboard specifically is cutting it really close. And this thing is a LDO O2S mounted to a LDO orbital 2.5 extruder. And due to the way that it is designed, the orbital doesn't have any means for me to mount the tool head on the sides of the printer as I would have done with this roto vitamin on the other two tool head. So I have to resort to mounting it at the front, and of course the plug for the umbilical cord is actually cutting it really close to the top bar. Well, something to be noted, and that is exactly why I'm going to use the roto vitamin as the default recommended extruder for this printer, purely for the side mounted tool headboard. And yeah, that's about it. So if you appreciate what I'm doing here, make sure to check out my Patreon and coffee donation link down below. I also have a YouTube membership for the live stream that I have been doing every Saturday. And beyond that, honestly, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!